that I'm so happy right now. I would like to congratulate you on that.
Thanks. What are we doing this time?
Because we're number one.
On what?
Traffic.
You better brace yourselves for the truth because we're about to go down
The rabbit hole. So CNN and Waze basically came out with this thing where they says the Philippines, okay, is number one, the worst place traffic in the earth, on the planet. Number one, the worst. It's because the roads are really congested, they're really tiny, they're really small. Yung mga drivers hindi disiplinado. The pedestrians, the passengers are not disiplinado. Walang enforcement ng batas natin. Smoke belching, hindi tinitikitan. Walang tail light, hindi tinitikitan. Kat, ano tingin mo? How can we fix this traffic problem?
I feel like you just said everything about the whole episode in the first 5 seconds of the episode. We're done.
Brace
so
yourself.
All right.
Brace yourself. Because we're going down the rabbit hole.
No. You know
Thug life.
You know, a lot of the people in the Philippines, when they're driving, they have no idea of traffic signs, traffic rules, and the one thing that Filipinos are terrible at is learning how to merge. Okay?
Right, yeah.
Learning how to merge. This is why there's all these bottlenecks on all of the bridges, on all of the intersections, all of these things, because people have no idea how to merge. They have no manners. They don't want to give way to anybody. Everybody's getting where they want to go as fast as they want to go, and they don't want to give way to anybody else.
I think what we're coming down to conclude here is the fact that there's a deeper root problem than just driving in traffic. It's a matter of discipline.
Yes.
And it extends so far into the psyche of the driver, the pedestrian, the road builders, the law enforcement people. Lahat tayo kasama dyan. Lahat tayo may pagkakamali
Yes.
dyan.
And the other thing is that Manila was not built for this volume of cars. And every time that there's a traffic problem, say, you know, it's getting too traffic in one part, they fix the traffic problem in that area, but they don't seem to think about whether or not it affects the traffic in the other external areas.
Mabuti kung ganun lang.
there.
Kat, ang problema, pag naguhukay sila ng kalsada, minsan, they start the project now. 3 years later, butas pa rin yung road.
Yes.
Hindi pa natatabunan.
Yes.
And so it compounds the traffic situation. It becomes much more difficult for people to get around. And as a matter of fact, economically, it is affecting and hurting the Philippines.
Yes, absolutely. How much is it that we lose every day from just sitting in traffic?
Every day we lose 2.4 billion pesos. That's billion with a B. Every day.
Every day?
Yeah, that's about
Jeez.
65 billion pesos a month.
Damn.
That's 700 billion a year.
Do you know how many hours of our lives we lose in the traffic? Did you ever figure that out?
Well, not really, but it depends on the countries where the traffic situations are really worse. In the Philippines, I believe it's an average of 45 minutes per day. But I know that's a lie.
That is a lie.
Yeah.
You know, when you spend 2 hours just getting to one place, I mean, who on earth needs to spend 3 hours in traffic just to get to one meeting? You know, one meeting can last 10 minutes and you gotta go to another meeting, you gotta sit in another 3 hours of traffic.
Yesterday, we were at BGC, right? I came from Shaw Boulevard. Going there, took me about 2 hours. 2 hours.
And how
Two.
far would that, how far would that be? You know,
Two.
How many kilometers is that?
I don't know,
would you
maybe
say?
5 or 6 kilometers.
Yeah, it's not even
something
that
like
far,
that.
right?
Yeah,
On
it's
a
not.
no traffic day, that'd be what, like 10, 15 minutes, right?
Took me 2 hours. How
2
long did it take you yesterday?
Hours. It took me, I took a motorcycle, and it still took me 45 minutes from Makati to BGC.
That is insane.
That's crazy. On a motorcycle already, you know what I mean? That's insane.
Another contributing factor is the fact that, you know, car companies are extending loans, subprime auto loans. It's so cheap now to get a car. Sobrang mura.
Yeah. It's like something like, in the province, I heard sometimes it's like just cheap as 30,000 pesos for a down payment.
Yeah, and certainly we're not depriving the people of the rights to own a vehicle. That's fine, right? But the problem is dinodoktor na ngayon yung credit eh. The car loan people will talk to you, oh, medyo kulang yung sweldo mo. Boss, don't worry, pero ayusin namin yan. You know, ayusin na lang natin para makasecure kayo ng car. And then what happens after that? These people figure out na kulang pala yung pera nila. They can't do the maintenance, walang pambili ng gas, nare-repossess yung auto, they lose a lot of money, and then the traffic is still there. There's another car right there.
Yeah.
You know?
And cars are like the least valuable investment, right? As soon as you
It's
buy
a-
a car, it's devalued.
It's a
That's
losing
it,
investment.
right? It's-
And you know what I love about cars too? Have you noticed the car commercials? Ganda eh. I mean, the car is on a highway, walang ibang sasakyan, or nasa desert, or nasa ocean, ganyan.
Yeah, yeah.
The reality is, dude, you can't even drive the car in Manila.
Yeah. You know what? That's what makes me laugh. You know, there's a bunch of people in this country who have really, really fancy cars. I
Oh,
had
yeah.
a friend of mine who had a Lamborghini, right?
I like fancy cars too.
You know, they're
Yeah.
beautiful things, you
Yeah.
know, beautiful cars. But this guy had a Lamborghini, and I was all dressed up, you know, and I sat in this car. I was wearing 6-inch heels, so it was really difficult for me to get in the car, first of all, because if you've ever been in a Lamborghini, it's low as anything, super low. And it has no suspension. So as beautiful as we looked in this beautiful car, in Manila traffic, it was the most uncomfortable thing ever. And I was like this the whole way because our roads suck. Like my hair came out because of this. And it was very, very uncomfortable. And, you know, getting anywhere slowly in a Lamborghini is not the way to ride a Lamborghini.
But you know, something's got to be said about arriving in style. So.
The other problem is also that cars have become a status symbol in this country, right? The more cars that you have, the more influential you're seen to be, and, you know, the more cars people want to have. When we had coding, because we don't have coding anymore, right? That
we
was
don't?
the other problem. Didn't we get rid of coding? Oh, so we still have coding?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
But clearly, it's not working.
Yeah, well, with coding, that's the problem, right? If you have a car that has a license plate that's not okay on a Wednesday, they're going to buy another car that they can drive on a Wednesday, right?
For sure, for sure.
There's a guy who owns one of the major food chains here, right? I'm not going to say which one, but he has a house, and I saw this house, and inside his garage, within the compounds of his house, right, there's about 10 cars parked there already. And then on the surrounding streets outside of his house, there was like 50 other cars that belonged to him. Just him.
How many?
Like, probably about 60 cars in total. And I was asking about how many cars they actually have.
What do you do with 60 cars?
Exactly. I mean, how are you going to drive, like, every day for 2 months, you're going to drive a different car and then you switch them around every other day? I mean, are you lending them to people? Do you have a taxi service?
So
let's say Grab?
Let's
I don't
say
know.
he's a car collector. And let's say, you know, we let him slide on that one. That's fine.
No, because if he was a car collector, they would have been nice cars. These were just any kind of cars.
Oh.
But just a lot of cars. And that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. Are you the Grab? Are you the Uber? Is that why you have to have so many cars? But no, they're just sitting there until they're adding to more traffic.
Another thing I also have to kind of call to attention is the fact that our mass transit system is horrible.
Oh.
That's
really
horrible.
Really terrible. Public transportation, especially now, like around Christmas time when it's super traffic,
Oh, yeah.
people are trying to get home really late, you know. There are people queuing up for hours and hours and hours just to get in a jeepney, just to get on a bus, just to get on whatever kind of public transport they can. Lining up around the block for the LRT, MRT, you know. In the rain sometimes.
The smell gets me.
Where are they gonna pee?
Naawa din ako sa mga traffic enforcers natin. And even the cops. I mean, that kind of heat in Manila, it affects everybody. So maybe one thing we should start focusing on now is like, are there solutions, Kat, to this? Pwede bang maayos to?
You know, this is really, like you said earlier, it's a matter of discipline. You know, number one, don't buy so many cars. You don't need that many cars. That's why carpooling is an option. You know,
It's a good
biking,
one. Yeah.
walking is also a great option. Why do people in Manila not like to walk? You know, I'm gonna go for a 5-minute walk down the street and they're like, ay, ang layo, ba't ka maglalakad? Ba't hindi ka naglalakad? May paka naman, diba?
And back to that discipline thing, I mean, Dick Gordon was able to do that in Olongapo for years. I mean, when Manileños go to Olongapo, they observe traffic rules. Parang biglang, oh, ba't ang galing mo mag-drive dyan?
Yeah.
Dahil may radar? Dahil may signs na gano'n? It was like, ba't ang galing niyo mag-drive bigla?
And you know, when you're stuck in the traffic for 3 hours, everybody's hot-headed, everybody's angry, nobody wants to follow the rules, there's road rage
Oh,
everywhere,
yeah.
you know, this is dangerous. Remember that guy who shot somebody in the face because he was in traffic? I mean, that's pretty bad.
That's why I don't drive.
I don't drive either. I don't even know that many people who drive, but still, there's so much traffic. Now, see, the train stations also, the trains are also dangerous. That's another thing. One, we need to upgrade our public transport. The buses, the jeepneys, even tricycles, bikes. We need bike lanes. We need real bike lanes so people can actually bike to and from work if they want to.
In a 2-lane street? Where are you going to get the lane for the bike lane?
I'm saying on more major roads, okay? I'm not talking about the little roads, but, you know, we need to have different options here, okay? There needs to be at least looking into different options.
But I like what you said yesterday. It's about how to decentralize the congestion in an area. Yes. We have to go expand outwards.
Yes, because you know what? Actually, we are such a high volume of people within this area.
It's
in
so
Manila alone,
concentrated.
it's 19 million people. That's an entire population in some countries. You know what I'm saying?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
19 million people in Manila, 100 million people in the Philippines,
That's
I believe
insane.
is the number. That is the sheer volume of it. So really, we need to cut down on the number of cars. You know, China actually acts something like 2 million cars, 2 million old cars.
Yeah.
And then, you know, for the first time in years, they didn't have smog in the air in Beijing. You know, so
That's another thing. The pollution thing is insane.
oh my gosh.
Right?
It really is.
That's like, you know, how many packs of cigarettes equivalent is it to ride a jeep from like Monumento Balintawak, whatever?
You
Right?
know,
Being exposed to that smoke?
there was a lung doctor in Australia who said that some of the worst lungs she had ever seen were from people from Manila. Like, really, we need to move out of Manila. I know that Manila is a central business district and everything, but it is too crowded. There are just too many people here. And we are not even supposed to live in this big of a city, you know, with this many people. It's not a natural environment for people to live in. So there's just too many of us here.
But being the perpetual optimist that I am, I'm saying that if we're stuck in traffic anyway, let's make the most out of it. Let's find constructive things to do in traffic. Like, you know, if you're stuck in traffic, maybe you want to read a book. Maybe
You read a book if you're driving.
if you're in public transportation, maybe you can.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
I mean,
okay.
you
all
know,
right.
it's
You know, you can
something
read.
something to deal with.
I get a headache when I read though in a car.
Okay, well, what about family bonding time? You know, you could be with your family, your friends, and make the most out of it, build relationships, and
Well,
be-
that's why carpooling is such a good idea. Because
Yeah, it
then you
is.
could actually talk to people, you know, meet new people, talk to people. That's something that we should talk about in another episode, though, is how people don't really like to talk to new people anymore. They don't just say hi to strangers in the street and all that stuff.
Right.
Right?
It's all about love.
It's all about love, baby.
Traffic is all about love. Okay. Let's wrap it.
All right, guys, you better brace yourself for the truth because we're about to go down
The rabbit hole.